What it should be in your, it should be in your it should, oh, it should be on your laptop. If you go to Facebook at the top,
Yeah, you can request your
that's where I got it from.
okay. You go to the top.
Oh, okay.
I'm hanging up here then.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
1 2 1 2. Can everybody hear everybody?
Can you hear me? Is everyone watching that right now? Our front page? There's one chat. Who's on the chat? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? No?
Yes, we can hear you. Wow, where's Fatima? Where's Fatima? Is she in her home?
It's her blue screen.
Really? That's nice.
Oh, it's a green screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks really good.
I saw that in the virtual background before. It's so cool. It's nice.
Looks like she's in like Bel Air or something.
It's very nice.
Have you guys shared the live Facebook? To your
Not
page?
yet. To your own page or business page? Not yet.
Yeah.
Or just wait till 11.
Down there. How do I share on my page again?
Sorry?
How do I share the live on my
Go to Healthy Way Vibes Facebook page.
yes.
And then just share at the bottom.
Doesn't
Yeah.
share though.
You should see it as a feed coming on right now.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're here talking about joint pain. So hope you guys enjoyed our little intro. We're going to get started. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Fatima.
I'm Fred.
Hi everyone, I'm John.
I am Cyrene.
Excellent. So now that we've got our introductions, there's one other thing that I'd like to announce. So we have been doing a draw for this, which we are going to be drawing at the end of our series next Saturday. But we've got a special draw today, one-time draw for the person who stays on the longest, and they need to be commenting on our post, on our video. Between the four of us, we will be checking it to make sure that there is someone, and share it. If you've got people who you invite, even more chances for you to win a book at the end of this show, but you do need to stay on till the end of the show to actually win this. And for those of you who are watching the replay, too bad. Watch our live series, then you may be able to win a free copy. Anyways, so a lot of times when we are talking about joint pain, you often think of someone who is a senior who has had a lot of injuries or osteoporosis, but it's not always the case. You could be as young as 10 and still have joint pain because you may have had accidents, you may have had injuries, or there's so many different compounding effects that do add on to joint pain. And I mean, for myself, I can definitely say, like, I'm 41, going on to 41, and I've sustained so many injuries, car accidents, that if you actually look at me, you wouldn't think that I've had all of these, because I've been able to manage my pain and also be able to work around it so that I am able to function. But if I were to tell you the laundry list of things, you'd be surprised. In the morning, I feel like I'm a 9-year-old woman because a lot of times I can't wake up. So I'm sure all of you guys can relate to that. Who would like to start with their laundry list?
I could. I mean, I'm probably one of the ones that have been suffering from joint pain for quite a number of years from a car accident that I had when I was 21. And so it really messed up my back and my neck. So I've been really cautious about, making sure that I'm not aggravating it in any way, or I know what kind of sets it off. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun when you can't get out of bed, or when you can't have a good night's sleep because you just can't get comfortable. There's no position that you can be in on your bed, whether they're on your side, on your back, on your front, using pillows of any sort. It just doesn't work. And so, then you don't get enough sleep. You wake up and you're even more sore and you're tired. So the cycle just kind of snowballs. So yeah, keeping not just your back and your neck in my case, but just everything, even if you can't, grip your steering wheel because of joint pain in your hands or so forth, it really, you're not having fun that day or for that week.
Yep, that's for sure. Like, I mean, it does hinder how, you do move through life. And some of us are very lucky and have never had any injuries or anything, and they don't know what joint pain is. Anyone here in particular?
Who could that be?
Who could that be?
I didn't think I would ever get joint pain. So,
So I don't know. I don't know what it feels like because I've never had joint pains or any accident for that matter. Not that I'm careful. Well, I am careful, but I'm kamikaze. But I never had really bad accident, So I'm enjoying a life free from joint pains.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. What are you doing to prevent it, actually?
So joint pains comes in different forms, like you said. It might be accidents that you've had many years ago, and then it comes back because of inflammation. It could be things like you've been doing a repetitive movement, like being a hairdresser, always doing this. So you get problem here, you get problem in your bowl, like because it's repetitive. movement that you've been doing for so many years, then you have pains in your shoulder. And this is all caused by inflammation. And what I like about inflammation is the fact that we need it, because if we have an injury, let's say we all had injuries, like a cut on the finger. This is, as a chef, I've had so many cuts on fingers or on the hands, and it swells and it gets red and it gets warm. That means that your body is sending out that fluids, the blood, the protein, in order to fix the problem, whether it's a cut, whether it's a bacteria or a virus. The inflammation is sent in your bodies where it needs it in order to fix the problem. When inflammation becomes a problem, it's when it becomes chronic inflammation.
Mhm.
And that is related to health choices like diet, sleep, exercises, if we do exercise or not, smoking, different things like that. So what I do to not have joint pains at my age is I eat a healthy diet, food that are rich in antioxidant and polyphenol. Polyphenol is a plant-based compound that is known to be like a good antioxidant, and it fixes all the free radicals in my body and it keeps my cells healthy. Therefore, inflammation for me is only triggered when there's when I have a cut or something, but it's not chronic. And it won't be because I'm eating well, I'm exercising a lot, and well, not a lot, but at least half an hour a day. And I sleep well, It's all about the healthy choices and
It
no
is. So
accident.
you were saying that antioxidants are good for reducing the inflammation. In how does that work? How,
Well, inflammation. Okay, let's say you drink a lot of alcohol, by example. Inflammation will start in your intestine area, and then it will start going to your organs, and it will become. Sorry, it says my internet connection is unstable. If you drink too much alcohol, your body will not get. Might be if you drink excessive alcohol for women about 7 glasses a week, for men about 14 glasses a week, then it will create inflammation, and it becomes chronic inflammation. If you eat processed meat, by example, like sausage, bacon, deli meat, and these are high in glycation, which is a protein and a fat that combines with sugar in your bloodstream, and it adds up in your body and it creates inflammation. When you don't eat these kinds of food, the antioxidant get rid of the free radicals, and then the inflammation does not occur because you're not eating food that creates inflammation. You're not drinking drinks that create inflammation, like alcohol, or even eat things with sugar, which triggers inflammation. So I'm trying to keep a healthy diet in order to avoid pain from joint pains or inflammation.
and then that's excellent. Those are excellent tips. And so, like with our joint pain come other discomforts. Like John was mentioning, like your sleep is affected, your mood is affected, so many other things are affected, even your workplace environment. And I know, Cyrene, you had a little bit of a story that you wanted to share about how your joint pain affected your workplace.
Yes, in 1990s, I was working at a dental office in Metrotown. And so what happened back then is, I don't know if people weren't mindful of being ergonomically correct. So we had a computer, we put our hands on the counter and we typed away. And hopefully no one's doing that right now, but there's proportions that you have to look at. But over time, like Fred was saying, repetitiously, like I ended up having tendonitis in both of my hands. First one hand, I'm left-handed, and then it went to the other hand. And I couldn't even brush my hair. I couldn't even wash my hair. I couldn't even lift it higher than my shoulder. And I was constantly in chronic pain. Like it was just really crazy joint pain in there. So what happened was I actually went on workers' compensation. So and that was actually a blessing in disguise, because when I went to workers' compensation, I had a team of people working on me. So I had a physiotherapist, I had a psychologist, I had acupuncturist, I had a physio, and you know what I wish they had, Fred, was a nutritionist. We never had one back then. So the
Yes.
first thing they would think is like take an Advil or Tylenol to help with the pain, right? But I tell you, I would be exercising every single day. So I was on the treadmill. I actually had an acupuncturist who came in and helped me with my joints. And I had a psychologist saying, why are you being the way you are? So we are programmed to finish our what we're working on till it's done. No breaks or anything. So we're not going to get home and I'm not going to get away from my desk and decide to go for a walk or to get fresh air and just breathe or anything like that. We are focused on getting the task done, and that's the way we were programmed, and that actually contributed towards my joint pain. And then the other one was so that was a psychologist. The occupational therapist was a person who would actually help us to do proper ergonomically movements. So when I was in the office, I would reach for the pen properly or the pencil properly, or I would be making sure that I had a mouse pad underneath my wrist so I wouldn't hurt it any further. And then it was all about breathing, making sure you breathe and take the breaks that you need to be effective. And then the other one was my physiotherapist, of course, making sure that the movement was working and, hot and cold. You would put your hands in hot and cold water to stimulate the circulation. So I have to say it was a blessing in disguise, because I ended up losing like 10 pounds. I was like, yes, even though I had joint pains, I'm like, oh, I'm exercising. Look at me. I'm forced to eat healthy. But actually, I wish I had more information about eating properly and getting rid of the inflammation that way instead of using Tylenol and Advil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's actually, like a really good point. Like, eating right, exercising, and also staying off the meds is very imperative. But I know there are times where you do need to have those high dosages of painkillers, just because, that injury may be fresh. But once it's prolonged, it's highly recommended to be off of that, so that, you're not creating more harm to your body. But of course, remember to consult your physician as you go through this process. So for myself, like I mentioned, I had like a whole laundry list of whether it was a car accident, whatever. So like I've had 7 car accidents. Out of the 7 car accidents, 4 of them were rear enders. 2 of them I was sandwiched in between, and then 1 of them I hit a patch of black ice. I took my car on 2 this way, and flat back down this way. So you can imagine the amount of damage I had done to my body, my entire body, my back, everything. Then, I have my wrist, this beautiful wrist. I still love it. And I still go out and I still, I do whatever I need to do. I don't let my injuries stop me. So I've actually put 10 hairline fractures in it. I dislocated the wrist here when I was working at the airport. I have also got tendonitis, carpal tunnel. And so in one of the car accidents, like when I was in grade 7, so actually before that, so I had actually at Playland Splashdown. So I was running as grade 7, you don't listen to the rules that they say, don't run in the pool. I was running and I fell and I landed like this. Not once, 3 times the same day. So by the time I got home, it was like out to here, whatever. Then I was in a car accident. I was holding onto the door handle. My body went forward, my wrist went back. So I did a lot of like heat therapy, a lot of physio, a lot of that. You know, like the one thing I love doing is I love playing volleyball because that's a family sport of ours. I can't play for too long. I'll play for maybe 5 minutes and then I stop because that's it. My wrist can't take it anymore because it's gone through so much. And then I tore my ligament here and did nerve damage to it. I tore my hip flexor ligament. My ankle is chronically sprained. I've sprained it so many times. So it's like I'm a walking disaster. Now you guys know when I say I feel like a 90-year-old woman when I wake up because my bones, I've had so many injuries, but it's not because I've been careless. It's just things happen, right? But I don't let that stop me. That's one thing I've learned is don't let it stop you from living your life. I still enjoy wearing my heels and having, you know, like the fashion forward life, as well as I do look after myself. I make sure I look after myself. I know my limit. I don't go beyond that. And if I do, there's ways that I actually will react. So I stopped taking pharmaceutical meds. So when I tore my hip flexor ligament, I couldn't walk for 2 years. So you can imagine that the kind of pain I was in. I mean, I couldn't walk. I had to teach myself everything. Yes, I had all the physio and everything, and you know, like a psychiatrist as well. And they're just like looking at me like, why are you, you know, as Cyrene said, why are you doing what you're doing? Get on with it. Get on with life and move on. And so I remember I actually turned it around on them because I was getting so annoyed at being poked and prodded at. I turned it around on them, which I probably wasn't the best patient, but anyways, I was taking naproxen and Celebrex. Those are two very, 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 very strong anti-inflammatories. I did not like what it did to me. Absolutely did not like what it did to me. I would get so angry if there was even a pin drop that dropped, I would go off the roof. And I know, you guys know me, I'm pretty calm, easygoing, you know, whatever, pretty chill, but that was just completely different. I was just completely a different person. And I vouched to myself at that point that I would not be taking any pharmaceutical drugs. I could do it all naturally, and I'm so grateful that I have. So one of the things, like if I've actually gotten to a point where it's beyond, I've hit my threshold of pain, I will actually get down on the floor and start doing my stretches. There's a few stretches that will help me get into it, along with, you know, trying to crack my bones. You know, I know a lot of you guys have said that it's not good, but I will crack it because if I don't, I can't function. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also broke and dislocated my finger in 2 places. So it came out of the socket from here. This part was going this way. Yeah, I've done it all. I've done it all, and I'm still standing, but I don't let those injuries get to me. Another thing that I do is I've actually been using this book. It's a really good tool that I've used. And the reason why, it's because each body part or each injury that we have, it's actually connected to an emotion. So for example, if I took one, if I said, if I had joint pain in my knees, the whole thing is forgiveness, tolerance, and compassion. And the affirmation to that is I move forward without hesitation. So it was quite interesting for me to see that, because you can see a correlation that our mind actually has with our thoughts. So we sometimes inflict the joint pains on ourselves, which is quite interesting. So now how do you guys cope with your injuries when you guys when you've hit that point of threshold?
Wow, I can go on for hours. No, so all what you guys all said is applicable to myself. So, you know, after my accident, I was not able to do a lot of the things I love to do, which was to play volleyball. I was playing beach volleyball, grass volleyball, but because of the vertical impact, it was affecting my back. So I re-injured it early because I thought I could get back into it. So my back specialist told me, hold off it, especially going to the weight room with like with heavy weights, because you're doing presses and squats and stuff, and that puts a lot of vertical pressure on your spine and everything, and that's where I was having the problem. So what I find right now that really helps is stretching. So stretching is, some people don't like it, some people think it takes too long, but literally, even if you give yourself a quick 10 minutes in the morning when you get out of bed. I actually do my stretches before I get out of bed. So over the years, I've learned through with my chiropractor or massage therapist, they've given me a lot of tools and a lot of good, I guess, advice. They print out a lot of material for me to also use to implement, to kind of, again, for me, it's all about prevention, right? I don't want to have my back out, and I don't want to have to, take the medication to deal with the inflammation, like what Fred's saying, the pain and everything, icing or heat, whatever I'm doing. It's like I'm trying to not get to that point. So there's things that I know now over the years that I've had to learn is what sets it off. Like I know what sets my back off. I know what sets my shoulder and my neck off because of the injury that happened many years ago. So it's easy to aggravate those, but I know what it takes to not get to that point. So stretching in the morning, quick 10 minutes. I'm stretching my lower back, my neck, my legs, and then I get off my bed. I do another 5 minutes on the ground, and literally within 15 minutes, your body loosens up. It's because when we sleep, we get very stiff, right? We're all curled up, or we're not sleeping maybe in the best position. So our back is taking a toll. Probably sometimes our mattress is not doing any justice as well. So like Fatima's doing her stretches right now. So yeah, stretching in the
I'm
morning.
actually cracking my shoulder.
Yeah, but 10 minutes, if you can give yourself that 10 minutes of quality time, it makes such a huge difference, because you're setting yourself up to be mobile for the rest of the day. And like Cyrene, I used to sit at a desk, I had carpal tunnel, worked on the computer for quite a while, but it's kind of like, think of your car. When you start your car, you don't just start it and go, right? You don't just start it and just gun it right away. You have to let it run for a while to get all the fluids
Ooh,
moving.
I don't do that.
Well, maybe.
I stop and I go. No time
Start,
spent.
go. But okay, so our body needs that warming up, right? That's why when you exercise, a lot of people say to warm up, to stretch, to do some,
That's right.
warm up your joints
Yeah, I
and
agree.
stuff so that you don't get the injuries. So that applies to whether you have injuries or existing injuries or not. I think it's wise to keep your body, protected, and the way to do that is to get it ready for the day by simple stretches. So I do that as much, and I notice that when I do forget to stretch, and I wake up in an awkward position and my back is kind of out, I kind of suffer for the rest of the day. So I do feel that, like, I do see the difference.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I mean, stretching goes such a long way. Like when I actually tore my hip flexor ligament, I was going through physio and, all these other different programs through WCB. But the one thing that they didn't do, and I kept asking was, hey, can we do some yoga? Can we do some yoga? And they kept saying, no, we don't need to do the yoga. It's not going to work, whatever. And so on my own accord, I actually signed up for a studio, and I went there, and basically, and I even told the instructors that, hey, listen, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I've had this injury. And they were phenomenal, because they were the ones that actually helped me through the process. I couldn't even, so because of my hip, my knee was affected, and I couldn't bend my knee. I couldn't straighten my knee. So my knee was always bent this way. And I was overcompensating on one side. Within the 2 weeks that I had gone to the yoga every day, I actually was able to have some relief. I was able to walk. I had a little bit more structure into my body, as opposed to being like this, because I was overcompensating. One side was hurting, so I was using the other side, to use more heavily. So stretching does go a long, long way. And I know when I don't do my stretching in the morning, I can feel it. Like, it just sometimes, like Cyrene says, we're in a deadline and we need to just go, 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 go. But we also need to take the time to take care of ourselves. The more we're nicer to ourselves, the better it is for us in the long run. You know, like you can then accomplish, you can do a lot more rather than saying, okay, I'm exhausted, I need to go to sleep because I'm in a lot of pain, because I didn't take care of myself. So it's all a ripple effect. Everything goes hand in hand. Our food, our exercise, our mood, our sleep, it all affects our joints as well. So
That's right. And
go
like
ahead.
John said, you stretch before you go exercise, but then when you finish exercising, a lot of people go and eat something. So it's nice to eat something that's not processed food, that's not high in sugar, that's probably high in protein, high in fiber, in order to help, because after exercising, your body has got inflammation, which is natural process. And this food will decrease the free radical, the oxidative stress, and therefore natural food or whole food will go hand in hand with a good health, and it will prevent those joint pains after the exercise as well.
And also it depends on what you do. I mean, exercise is great. We all talk about how exercise is great for our body. You know, nutrition, like Fred's saying, is important to pick foods that promote health versus feed inflammation, right? But exercise, I mean, for people who may not be able to, like I started running again, and that's very, you know, for your body, that's very impactful. Like it's pressure on your knees, pressure on your back, you know, pressure on your ankles and so forth. But you know, there's many things that people can do. You know, there's simple things. I mean, there's like Fatima mentioned yoga, Cyrene's mentioned, you know, other things that you can do that does not have to have such a big load on your body, that can still help promote joint health. You know, low impact, right? People have heard of low impact exercising or fitness, right? Swimming, right? You're not
Yep.
hopping or doing anything like that. Stretching, right? And also do it to the point where you feel comfortable. Never overextend, right? Never go past where you think your body, oh, I'll just push a little bit further, because that can actually, you know, rip or overstretch something, and then you push yourself backwards. So, you know what your limits are, and if you do need to, you know, consult with a doctor or a trainer, always do so, because then you're setting yourself right to get you to where you want to go. Like you're setting yourself for that goal versus trying to figuring it out on your own, which I've done many times, and you know, some has worked, but I think if I went back, I'd say no, I should have, you know, consulted and got some professional help, because I think I would have healed faster if I did that.
What I wanted to add to you, John, was that when you're exercising, at the end, you have to stretch.
Yeah.
Be mindful of it before or after. And it's so important that you stretch afterwards. It's because we're tightening our bodies, we're losing the weight, we're strengthening, and we're getting leaner. So if you don't stretch, you're causing inflammation, and you may cause joint pains as well. But long-term effects of that is that as we get older, our bones mass density actually reduces. So if you're not properly taking care of your body, when you're at a certain age, you might have hip replacement or hip issues. And so we need to stretch. And so what I ended up doing is my physiotherapist is the one who told me about Gynotronics, and it's a machine, a pulleys, and you can do it similar, I think, through Pilates. But this machine, it hooks you up, and you're using your weight resistance, and it actually helps you to use muscles, all your muscles, which we don't even use half the time, because we're so used to, like, if we're doing weights, we're just focusing on certain parts of the body, right? Mm-hmm. But this joint, this Gynotronics helps all your muscles. And it's like, it was designed by a ballet dancer. So it's all about stretching every ounce of your body, and you're like feeling great afterwards. It doesn't even feel like a workout, but you have to stay movement, you know, and because when you get older, your body will stiffen and your body will change positions because of your bone density. And it's so you need to stay mindful of that.
Yeah, very, very true. Like you got to be very mindful of, you know, what you're doing. And that's kind of cool. I've never heard of this technique that your physiotherapist is using.
you know what, Fatima, you get lean without actually trying. It's amazing. You work all your core, you work your arms, you work your legs, and so you're hooked up to this pulley, and I'll tell you about her later. She's amazing. She's helped me when I actually, I was in Italy, and I'll tell you really quick the story. And I was getting out of the pool, and of course my husband actually usually comes to the stairs and helps me to get out of the pool. I was wet, and I slipped through his hands. I landed on the tiles. And I'm so lucky. I went and did not really damage my body, because I landed on my bum and my side, and I was bruised, and so they asked me if I want to see a massage therapist, and I said yes, please. And so of course I inflamed my ankle as well as my leg and my back. But if I didn't do this gynotronics, which helped me to be more flexible, I think if I was stiffer and I didn't wasn't moving around, I think I would have broken a bone. That's the difference of stretching and not.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Like, I mean, it all comes down to, you know, stretching. But one thing to emphasize, like John mentioned, is consult a physician or consult your trainer, because you want to make sure that you're doing these stretches right. Because if you're just going to be stretching for the sake of stretching, because not all the time, that we're not all trained as trainers to have like perfect form, you know, how you have to have your knees or whatever. So then that way you prevent any other injuries from happening. So you want to make sure you are consulting someone that is of a professional nature who can help you through that. Don't just go through it yourself and say, hey, I can do this myself. And then later down the road, you've made it worse for yourself. Right. And another thing that I've noticed with a joint pain, it's not just, you know, our food and all of that, but it's also our environment. I mean, that's something that we can't control so much as in terms of the weather. I'm sure when it gets really cold or when it's raining or whatever, you two also feel it, John and Cyrene, that it's like, oh no, you know, I can't move, it's stiffer. Whereas Fred loves the heat. He automatically loves the heat. So
I just love the heat.
That's probably why you don't have any joint pains.
Yeah, but I like the winter as well. I go outside. I enjoy the cold weather.
Yeah.
But I just love the heat because I'm a heat lover. And when I grew up, my uncle used to hate winter so much. You know, back east, winter is pretty harsh, and he used to hate winter so much. And I didn't mind winter that much. And then I understood later on in life that he has major pain issues when it's winter.
Yeah.
And then I wondered, why did he not leave for the whole winter? Go to California, go somewhere. But, you know.
But remember, you're also doing more work because you're shoveling snow. And we hear how many people throw out their backs or they slip and fall, you know. So, you know, places that snow more, I think during those times, people have more pains that come up because you have to go out there and deal with that.
Yeah. But
yeah,
in this
for
case,
sure.
yeah. In this case, the weather itself, the cold, would just make his joint not function properly.
No, it doesn't. Like the dampness, it is something that I do not like, and I'm pretty sure the two of you guys can attest to this. It just makes it harder. Like when it's like really cold and damp, it makes life a little bit harder. But that's why we have all these tools that we can use to make it that much easier for us. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's some people who are completely like, okay, I've had this injury, I can't do anything in life again. I'm going to be dependent on other people. And then there's others who choose to live a full life. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on how you choose to take your route. Like for me, yeah, I have days that are really bad. I ain't going to lie. I ride it through, but I don't let that dictate how my life looks.
I can't get over it. I wake up, my back's out. I try to do the best I can to get rid of it, but you know, I do have to make those visits to my chiropractor. I do need to have, you know, the once or twice a year massages where I just need to kind of put it back into place and have a kind of like a fresh start, and then from there I can maintain it again. But we can only do our best we can, and that's an accumulation of everything we talked about, right? Sleep, exercise, food, stretching, just watching out for what we do, and we know what our limits are. A lot of times we overextend, like what Cyrene's doing. We overextend, we overwork, we stress. Stress a lot to do with how our body functions and reacts to inflammation. So I think it's not just one thing, right? It's for me.
It's an accumulation of things.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of things that maintain my joint health.
You
thing. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
When I had a TV fall on my foot, that's a long story, right?
Ouch.
Still walking. It took me a while, but I became the victim with the joint pain. Why me? Why does this hurt? But I didn't really have time to even actually be in it for a long period of time because I'm constantly living in Vancouver, living in Toronto, always moving. And so I went and saw a physio and massage therapist, like you were saying, John. But after a while, you have to figure out what works for you. I had to figure out how I'm going to exercise without hurting my foot. You can accomplish the same things, but in a different way. So I decided, I'm not running, and I can walk. I can do the things that I want, could still do, but in a slower pace and get the end results eventually. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to run, I'm going to lose the weight and everything else. I had to be mindful for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And we're actually coming to an end. This topic can continue on and on and on and on. So before we end, if there's any questions, we can answer them now. I know Elaine had some questions. So she's saying, I do listen to doctors and physiotherapists and massage therapists as to what I need to do to prevent further injuries. Oh, and also one other thing before I forget, another thing is posture. Posture does actually make a huge difference in our joint health. Because if we're always hunched over a computer, well, guess what? You can see your back is always hunched over. But generally, we're supposed to be straight like this and typing. But a lot of times we don't because we just start hunching over. So we want to make sure we try to keep our back as straight as possible and as long as possible, because that way it helps with our joint pains as well. It may feel weird at the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, it actually feels nice.
And even actually reading your cell phones, like when you're reading messages, we tend to go down like this. We have to make sure we make it more ergonomically correct, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in your bed when you're sleeping there. And I kind of did this myself. I ended up with tennis and golfer's elbow because I was holding my cell phone and watching a thing, like watching my shows, whatever. So now it'd be like stuck in this one motion. And I've got tennis and golfer's elbow because of me using my cell phone incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that we do need to take care of as well. Another comment that Elaine has is most chronic pain is due to inflammation. Most people just take painkillers and mask the pain. So very true. Like they're great for the interim, like when it's a very major injury, yes, but over the long term, there's other ways that you can prolong that and have it so that it's not a mask and you're not creating some other problems down the road.
Yeah, for your body, because if I found that when I took a lot of Advil over time, because of my joint pain, I end up having an ulcer, but that's just, a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That is it for the comments. So our lucky winner is Elaine Chow. Please contact us for the details as to how we can get this to you. The healthy way, if you can read it.
Yay.
You get a copy of
Yay.
the
Congratulations, Elaine.
Congratulations, Elaine. Well, our next conversation on Thursday will be it's going to be gratitude with style. So stay tuned for that on Thursday. Every Tuesday, you can come join us live, not live, actually, we will be on Zoom having a conversation, an open conversation, and we'd love to have a conversation with you as well. So join us on every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Next Thursday, we will be live here again at 11 o'clock with Gratitude with Style. And also our season or our season finale for the Healthy Home will be done on Saturday, May 30th at 11 o'clock. And that is when we will actually be giving away 4 of these books. So if you haven't entered in the draw, please do. You still have time. That means you have to like our page. You have to tag 3 of your friends on our post. You have to share our post and comment on our post. And we will draw 4 books at the end of our series next Saturday. And we look forward to seeing you again. Hope you had a wonderful day. Thanks for now.
Stay healthy.
Have a great
Bye.
day.